We're here today. I'm the London Regional Secretary, and the region is out in force today to support public sector workers in their dispute today in London and up and down the country for fair pensions.
I think it's necessary because unfortunately the government simply aren't listening.
CWU activists will be out there showing their support for all the unions in all the cities up and down the country. How important it is for us all as a trade union movement to work together, support pensions, make sure that pensioners don't pay for the crisis caused by the bankers.
There are alternatives, despite what politicians say, to attacking public sector workers, many of which are very poorly paid, and the attacks are completely unnecessary and unacceptable.
The CWU will always support them issues. We've got our own problems with pensions, and we've just had a national policy forum, and within that there was a proposal that says that if we don't progress the issues that we have with the business around pensions, then we will be joining the public sector workers in any future action that they feel they need to take over pension issues.
If we are to be a generation that's remembered for anything, then let us be the generation that put an end to the politics of greed in this country and restore the policies of fairness back into our society.
We know David Cameron, Maggie Thatcher's evil son. Georgie Osborne pudding and pie stole our pensions, made us cry. Then the unions came to play. Georgie Osborne ran away.
There's a massive feeling of injustice in terms of how the government are dealing with working class people, not only in the pensions. I mean, you see other banners around today that talk about the cuts and job losses that are affecting working class people, and announcements yesterday by Osborne around putting a cap on pay for public sector workers.
The public sector is very upset about having pensions that they've been paying into for a long time being cut, and in my case as a teacher, it's going to be a case of working longer, paying more and getting less.
I'm a Unison member, and basically I think it's really unfair that the government's trying to cut people's pensions when there is enough money in the pot. I know that we've been told that there isn't, but there is, and you know they're lying to us.
Well, they know that they can only negotiate with government from a position of support, and that's clearly what's happened today with 2 million people on strike, biggest strike for many, many years. That's the way you deal with this government.
It's like austerity being preached by a bunch of people who are never going to experience austerity themselves. They're never going to have to live with the cuts that they're imposing on everybody else. To just assume that slicing everything is going to work or is going to actually win you any support, it's deaf. It's just saying, we know best, and the best is that you all suffer a bit or a lot.
I think it's appalling. I think everyone should have a decent pension, and of course we can afford it. We can afford Trident and we can afford wars, so we should be able to afford for people to have a decent pension in their old age.
A lot of the things that have been imposed upon us, working longer, paying more, 50% increase in our contributions, a lot of that has been imposed upon us, negotiation by the media. So we're very angry really that this is continuing to be portrayed as us being itching for a fight and being militants, etc., when really all it is about us fighting for our futures and for our pensions so that people are not going to be living in poverty when they retire.
Il est nécessaire d'avoir ce genre de démonstration très importante pour faire comprendre au gouvernement que ces mesures sont impopulaires et que c'est une autre politique qui doit être menée aussi bien en Angleterre que dans tous les pays d'Europe, qui crée des emplois, qui crée des services publics, qui donne du bonheur aux gens.
Why should we pay for the mistakes of the bankers? The majority of the people who are on strike are going to be women who are struggling on the poverty line to actually save for their pensions. They're being cut by the government's austerity measures. They are paying for the mistakes of the bankers, which is why we're out there on the lines to support those individuals.
We should all have decent pensions. CWU members, all trade union members, all workers should have decent pensions. We want to make sure we get that for everybody.
CWU members need to support the dispute. Whilst at the moment we're not directly involved, we have had attacks on pensions ourselves, not least of which the linkage from RPI to CPI, which will affect many thousands of our members in their pension payments going forward. But not only that, the bill at the moment that affects royal matters with the EU, potentially in the future there could be more attacks on our pensions as well going forward. So it's important that we raise the profile amongst our own members, whilst also showing solidarity for other public sector members.